started, shall we? Welcome to another edition of Rob Carson's What in the World? Glad to have you joining me tonight on the show. Are you still at home? Many of us are. I've got a lot of things I want to get to as the show progresses. Some good news. There's plenty of bad news. I get it. The death toll in New York up a little bit. It ticked up a little bit last night. But there are other positives coming out of New York. There are some good things happening around the country. America is responding in crisis like it always does, and that is in a terrific fashion. So for those of you who are hanging out at home today, and maybe every day, there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are some people who want to see dark at the end of the tunnel. Don't get me wrong. There are plenty of people who just want to see dark at the end of the tunnel. But that's not it. Okay, want to mention real quick here. Been doing on the show on my other Facebook page, which is at Rob Carson. Reason being is Facebook periodically shadow bans me for my political content on Rob Carson's show. But I decided to move here tonight and do the show because that appears to have has been stopped at least momentarily. So if you would share with other people as the show progresses, that'd be great. I think you're going to get some really good content here, some leading edge content. The president today. I was reading a piece the other day. The WHO. The WHO is like the United Nations. It is a tired bureaucracy, international bureaucracy that is controlled by a lot of people, a lot of second stringers in the world. And the WHO knew about the crisis in Wuhan. They knew about the coronavirus, and they kept it secret to cover China's ass. And so the president of the United States, and hello, Ben and Ryan and Carol, hello. The president of the United States today during a press conference decided to, and this is what he should have done. Thank you, Mr. President. He also did the same thing to NATO. He said, if we're not going to carry all the water for NATO, so other countries are going to have to step up. The president of the United States told NATO to take a hike. We're taking your money away for a while.
The WHO, that's the World Health Organization, receives vast amounts of money from the United States, and we pay for a majority, a biggest portion of their money. And they actually criticized and disagreed with my travel ban at the time I did it. And they were wrong. They've been wrong about a lot of things. And they had a lot of information early, and they didn't want to. They seem to be very China-centric. And we have to...
It's because the world is largely ruled by despots, okay? And these international organizations, including the United Nations and WHO, have these despots on their boards and include them equally. And sometimes even, as the left normally does, favors the leftists, the despots.
Look into that. So we're going to look into it. We give a majority of the money that they get. And it's much more than the $58 million is a small portion of what they've gotten over the years. Sometimes they get much more than that. Sometimes it's for programs that they're doing, and it's much bigger numbers. And if the programs are good, that's great as far as we're concerned. But we want to look into it.
Okay, so they're going to suspend the money until WHO pulls its head out of its butt. That's what the president essentially is saying. And it's about time. It is about time. Because this could have all been stopped. 95% of the casualties in the world, it is reported, could have been prevented if China had been honest. But they're a communist regime, and that's what they do. That's how they roll. A lot of people have been saying that chloroquine, that's one of the treatments that the president actually had, and about 3 weeks ago I had mentioned this because in Australia there were scientists who were there were doctors who were using chloroquine, hydroxychloroquine, and Zithro to treat coronavirus, and they were seeing enormous success, and the president of the United States got on the bandwagon. So did I. And my decision is reinforced by the fact that I have 3 friends who have beaten this virus. Two with actually very serious health issues. One of my friends, basically he and his wife said goodbye to each other, filled out their wills, and they thought they were done. Now, part of that might have been because the unknown of what this virus was a couple of weeks ago. But one of my friends, John, I'll just say John, was going to be intubated in the hospital. They were going to help his breathing, and he said, no, I want to try this chloroquine, this hydroxychloroquine, and he did. And guess what? He didn't need to be intubated because he knew that if you are intubated, that is a really bad sign. It's a really bad sign, and I don't know what the survival rate is, those who are intubated, but it's pretty serious business. And so he said no. And the news media, for some odd reason, even though 6,000 doctors in the world are using this, even though Israel has sent us 10 million doses of hydroxychloroquine to the United States to fight this virus, even though 4,000 New Yorkers right now are being treated with it, despite the governor restricting use of it. My friends, of course, have used it as well, and it worked well for them. And I've got stories I'm going to share, but the news media is saying that the president somehow, because he supports the use of this, and he has, despite his Anthony Fauci, one of his task team members, is unconvinced about it. The president has been promoting, but of course, the news media is saying that Donald Trump has a financial reason for promoting hydroxychloroquine. This is, of course, without any basis. This is without any evidence whatsoever. This is Mika Brzezinski, who exists solely to rest on the arm of her husband, Joe Scarborough, in their palatial home in Florida, doing their show like they're doing it from Washington, D.C. She nods. She tilts her head like a puppy, occasionally recognizing words of English. And here's what she had to say about it, again, without any basis of fact whatsoever.
An unproven drug that might work for malaria, might work for lupus, doesn't work for this. And, and Dr. Fauci, again, constantly. Dr. Fauci wasn't even allowed to answer the question last night.
Talk.
Donald Trump got on ratings. He likes getting...
He wasn't allowed to talk about what he feels is important to say about this drug that the president keeps pushing. A lot of people would say, follow the money. There's got to be some sort of financial tie to someone somewhere that has the president pushing this repeatedly.
Okay, the woman is dumb as a box of rocks without the rocks. Okay, I'm serious. I really mean that. I don't think she's a terribly intelligent person, and she exists to sit there as Joe's sidekick and nod and occasionally opine, and her opinions generally are ungodly vapid. Ungodly vapid. Now, here is the Democrat governor of New York saying that it actually works. Okay, this is Chris Cuomo saying that it's working in New York. That's why 4,000 people are being treated with it.
There has been anecdotal evidence that it is promising. That's why we're going ahead. Doctors have to prescribe it. There are some people who have pre-existing conditions where it doesn't work, or they're taking medication that's not consistent with this treatment. But anecdotally, it's been positive.
Here's the deal, guys. Right now, we do not have the luxury of a 2-year study of the drug and its efficacy. We do not. We have to beat this now. This is a drug that's been around since 1955. It's being used for rheumatoid arthritis, a host of different ills, and it's working. I'm not saying it works with everybody, and I am certainly not a medical expert, but some people are saying it's really working. Dr. Anthony Cardillo, Los Angeles, has been talking about how he's been using it to treat people with this virus. Here is what he has to say about hydroxychloroquine.
Exactly. What we're finding clinically with our patients is that it really only works in conjunction with zinc.
The
hydroxychloroquine opens the zinc channel, zinc goes into the cell, it then blocks the replication of the cellular machinery. Every patient I've prescribed it to has been very, very ill, and within 8 to 12 hours, they were basically symptom-free.
Okay, so he's saying that within 8 to 12 hours, you're symptomatic, you're desperately ill, and it works. I want to say hi to Ed and John, I should say, who are watching tonight. Thank you for joining me. It is a little warm in here, and I'll tell you why, because it was 80 degrees outside today in Kansas City where I do the show. And we just turned off the furnace not too long ago, and my wife does not want to turn on the AC. So I've got TV lights and everything. Not pleasant right now. But you know what? I'm doing it for you. Here's some good news. Hospitals in the state of New York discharged more COVID-19 patients than they admitted for the 4th day in a row. This according to the news on Saturday. Sign that the state hit hardest by the novel coronavirus from China may be moving in the right direction. This is according to the Epoch Times. State data shows that New York hospitals admitted 574 COVID-19 patients while discharging 704. This is huge. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, I called him Chris Cuomo, didn't I? Called the trend good news during his Sunday news conference. So this is very positive. Now, it did come up a little bit last night. Okay? It did come up a little bit. I confuse Andrew and Chris, and then there's Mario, who is their dad. Number of people hospitalized across the United States as a result of the novel coronavirus is reportedly only a fraction of what some health experts projected a few days ago. On Monday, Andrew Cuomo told reporters that in his state, the epicenter of the viral outbreak in the United States, new coronavirus hospitalizations dropped by 75%. From 1,472 4 days ago to 358 on Sunday. This is huge. Alex Berenson, former New York Times reporter, who has been following the U.S. outbreak closely, observed on Twitter on Monday, it's over, guys. It's already over. Now, I'm not willing to say that right now because we got a long way to go. Jim Malatras, aide for Governor Cuomo, reportedly indicated that projections are now showing that New York is unlikely to need the 110,000 hospital beds as previously thought. This is good news. The new forecasts show a much lower demand that stands in the estimated 20 to 30,000 range. Jesse McKinley of the New York Times bureau chief in the New York capital of Albany wrote on Twitter on Monday. Now, these are not right-leaning conservative sites. This is the New York Times. This is somebody who works with Cuomo. That means the new projections for the number of hospital beds needed in New York are between 70 and 80% lower than originally estimated. This is huge. While tens of thousands are hospitalized across the U.S. due to COVID-19, the number are a fraction of what experts projected just a few days ago. The main reason appears that the IHME projections were already off the day they were released. This happened in England as well. Hospitalizations for the whole country would add up to some 47,000 as of April 3rd to the 4th. The IHME model predicted 114 to 180,000 hospital beds would be needed on April the 3rd, roughly 120 to 430 on April 16th. That means the number of hospitalizations across the U.S. earlier this month was much less, 40% less than originally forecast. Okay? IHME predicted that New York would need 41 to 58,000 hospital beds April 1st. April 3rd, they needed less than 16,000. The IHME model only got its hospitalization forecast right for one state, and that is the state of Missouri. So there you go. There you go. Researchers are revising the coronavirus model used by the White House to show a lower death estimate. New number of expected deaths, 81,000, with a range of 136,000 and a lower range of 49,000, according to U.S. News and World Report. Okay? Now, right now, let me look real quick and see where we are as far as deaths are concerned internationally. Let's look up a coronavirus map on Johns Hopkins. That's the one we're looking at. And it's kind of fluctuated. But if you look at the worldwide coronavirus map, right now we are looking at, as I look at my screen, 1,414 cases worldwide. Now, this is going to be underreported because there are places they aren't able to test. But honestly, as far as the number of people afflicted by this, with a population of 7.5 billion, that's a pinprick. 81,000 people have died. 300,000 have recovered. Okay. Now, any death is a tragedy regardless of what pre-existing conditions there were or what age the person is. Okay, that's just the way it is. But when you look at internationally, the number of people afflicted and the number of people who have died, this is a pinprick compared to the great pandemics of the past. And I've said this from the get-go. I've said it from the get-go. Donald Trump. Let's go to some. Let me see what else we got here. I got some audio I want to get to before we get rocking and rolling. Oh, here's the Pennsylvania man who was treated with chloroquine hydroxychloroquine, and he ended up being turning out quite healthy and quite well. This is a guy who's in his 70s, all right? And this is, I believe, his daughter talking about his recovery.
A scary choice to make.
It was a scary choice.
But with her father's COPD and pulse oxygen dropping, she wasn't confident he could make it. So she asked the doctor one more question.
I said, if this was your father, would you prescribe it for your father? And he said that he would.
So far, so good. This is Mr. Schreckenkost today, surrounded by the staff caring for him, his temperature and oxygen level improving.
It's amazing. It really is. I'm glad I took the chance. I love my dad so much. I know every child loves their parent and every daughter loves their dad, but I'm so happy that he's okay.
And we are too. Last night on Laura Ingraham and a Democrat from the state of Michigan, who is a state representative, Karen Witzek. She has some pre-existing conditions. She was desperately ill. She thought she was going to die. She asked about hydroxychloroquine. The only reason she had heard about it is because the president was talking about it. Otherwise, she would have had no idea about the drug. Here's Laura Ingraham last night talking to her about her miraculous recovery with the drug.
I did not receive it until the day I actually got tested for COVID-19, and that was March 31st. And I just plummeted that day. I mean, I went from 0 to 100 in a time, and it went from the headaches to being extremely severe to fluid building up in my lungs to sweats breaking out, the cough, my breathing being labored. It all happened in a matter of hours, and I really didn't have any time between my husband and myself, Jason, to make a decision on whether do I go to the hospital, which I honestly did not want to do, and that has nothing to do with the care that I thought I would receive there or the first responders or the nurses that are there. It had nothing to do with them. It's the fact that the hospitals were full near my area, and that I honestly believe that once I got into something like that, I may not actually come out. And that was my biggest fear. And I knew that this medication would possibly save me.
And Representative Whitsitt, you didn't know about it until you heard it in the president's briefing?
I knew about it previously because I do have chronic Lyme disease. And so, but it was not something that unless the president had mentioned it, that it would be accessible. If President Trump had not talked about this, it would not be something that's accessible for anyone to be able to get that right now. It would not even be possible. And I mean that honestly, because I did have a difficult time even that day obtaining the medication because of an order that was put down in my state.
So your state was one of the states that said, nix the prescriptions of hydroxychloroquine. We saw that with a number of states, and your state was also one of them.
That day. Yes, and it was on that day. So you can imagine how terrified I was that, I had to really beg and plead and go through a whole lot to try to get the medication. And my husband was able to pick that prescription up that night, and I was better within a couple of hours. So for anyone...
Whoa. She was better within a couple hours. Okay, it worked. Is it going to work for everybody? No. But right now, the amount of evidence that's coming in worldwide is showing that it's working. It's working. Hi, Ryan. Thanks for joining me, by the way. President's been doing a good job. Even the governor of the state of New York said that the president is following through with what he's doing. And I want you to think about this because we've heard a lot of caterwauling. We've heard a lot of fear. There are people who lead. There are people who panic. True leaders don't panic. Have you seen the president of the United States panicked at any time? Have you seen the governor of New York panicked? Yeah. Have you seen the mayor of New York City? Yeah, panicked. I'll play some audio in just a moment of Bill de Blasio. We have a hospital ship docked in New York City. Right now, they are allowing some COVID-19 patients on it. The other day, it was reported that only 20 people were on it, and then they blamed it on some sort of bureaucracy. Here's why it's empty. They don't need it. The models were wrong. The models were wrong. Now, can things change? Yeah. I certainly don't want them to. But I prefer to look at the light at the end of the tunnel instead of the dark at the end of the tunnel. Here is Chris Cuomo, the governor of New York, talking about the president of the United States and his response to his and our crisis.
And I said with the president from day one, there's no doubt that he and I have different views on many issues. I'm probably the governor in the country who's been most critical of some of the president's policies, and I can tell you that I am the governor in the country who the president has most criticized in the past. And when this started, I said, look, I need help for New York. We have to work.
Listen carefully to this, because this is the only voice on the Democrat side of the political equation that is not only positive with regard to the president, but also wanting to cure this, wanting to get through this, being a voice of hope, being a voice of reason. There is no one in the Democrat Party, there is no one on CNN who is focused on the country coming together to defeat this. CNN is devoting all of its coverage to defeating Donald Trump. The Democrat Party, there is not a single positive voice in the Democrat Party saying, we shall overcome, we will work together. Think about that. In our country's time of greatest crisis, there is a political party that is doing D word for Richard to make things better.
Together. And if you help me for New York, I will call it the way it is and say you delivered. And he delivered today. And if I don't think the federal government is meeting its responsibility, I'll say that. So it's just a sort of plain truth. Sometimes it comes down to the plain truth.
Okay. The plain truth. All right. There has been no attempt by the Democrat Party to come together, to bring the country together to defeat this. There hasn't been. There hasn't been. Where are the voices, guys? Where's Nancy Pelosi? You know, where's Chuck Schumer? Where are the positive voices? I'd like to hear more from Republicans, to be quite honest. I guess they're leaving it up to the president. But where are the positive voices? Where are the voices that came together on 9/12 of 2001? They're not there. It's shameful. It really is. It really is. The FCC has rejected a demand from a far-left news advocacy organization to censor Donald Trump's press conferences. And all of the major networks are doing that. CNN is doing that. Free Press is a progressive media organization. They filed an emergency petition with the FCC asking for intervention on the basis of public health, arguing that Trump and other broadcasters like Rush Limbaugh were spreading misinformation about COVID-19, therefore putting the public health at risk. Are you kidding me? Really? The left is saying that hydroxychloroquine doesn't work. Who's endangering the health of the American people? When broadcasters tell dangerous lies about a public emergency, health emergency, broadcasters have a choice. Don't air them or put those lies in context with disclaimers noting that they may be untrue and are unverified. And certainly the FCC has a duty to rein in radio broadcasters that seed confusion with lies and information. And they try again. They try to shut down Rush Limbaugh. They've tried it for 31 years. For these reasons, we urge the FCC to conduct an urgent examination into the extent to which broadcasters have aired hoaxes and false or misleading information about COVID-19, blah, 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 First Amendment, piss on it, la, 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 la. This is what the FCC said. The federal government will not and never should investigate broadcasters for their editorial judgments simply because a special interest group is angry at the views being expressed on air. That's FCC Chairman Ajit Pai. In short, we will not censor the news. You want to have your news censored? CNN, MSNBC, you want to have it censored because a right-wing group disagrees with it? I've got friends who are more friends that are left-center than I am, or left of center majorly. I am center-right, conservative. I never want them shut up. They want me shut up. I don't want them shut up. Let's have a debate. I'll beat your ass. The commission does not and cannot and will not act as a self-appointed, free-roving arbiter of truth in journalism, even assuming for the sake of argument that free press assertions regarding a lack of veracity are true. False speech enjoys some First Amendment protection. La, 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 la. Instead, we can conclude that the antidote to the alleged harms raised by free press is, ironically enough, a free press. Woo! Touche. Touche. Hello, Barry. How you doing, buddy? Glad to have you with me tonight. I want to mention something real quick. A lot of businesses are hurting. A lot of restaurants are hurting. Movie theaters. I could go on and on. Tattoo parlors. Dear Lord, everybody been told to shut down. I drove by today. Countless. Everything from JCPenney to a mall to TJ Maxx to everybody. It's ridiculous. We're going to have to get back to work. We're going to have to get back to work. Somebody's going to have the balls to say, those who are in harm's way, those who are a part of afflicted groups, stay home. We'll take care of you. But the rest of us have to get back to work. We have to make the economy work. I work at a Toyota dealership. It's called Hendrick Toyota in Merriam, Kansas. It's 67th Street exit off I-35, and your need for transportation is not going to end. If you need a car, you're going to need a car. So if you want a new car, you want a used car, it's a good time to do it because dealerships are hurting badly. Many of them have let off their sales staff. Many of them had shuttered their doors. I'm blessed enough to work with a dealership, Hendrick Toyota in Merriam. They haven't. If you need transportation or know somebody does, please come by and see me or one of our other qualified sales representatives, okay? Will you do that? I'd greatly appreciate it. Here's the president talking about the need for the country to get back to work.
But again, we're not going to destroy our country. We have to get back. Because, at a certain point, you'll lose more people this way through all of the problems caused than you will with what we're doing right now. What we're doing right now, I think it's going to be very successful. But you know what? I don't know. We have a big decision to make at a certain point. Okay? We have a big decision to make. We went this extra period of time. But I've said it from the beginning, the cure cannot be worse than the problem itself.
Okay. And I also want to say to my brothers and sisters in broadcasting, and Dave, hi, how are you? Even though I have been attempting to get back into terrestrial radio unsuccessfully, thanks to some big names in broadcasting, and I hope to, by the way, get back in. My brothers and sisters on the radio, in television, they are being affected. Many of them were being fired and laid off by large corporate interests months ago. Now they're getting a double whammy because advertisers aren't buying, because there's no point. For many of them, there's no point. We can't get people in the door. Why should I spend money on advertising? I can't keep people in my door. My doors have been locked. So my brothers and sisters in broadcasting, I wish you the best. I do. And you know what? If you need tips on podcasting, I'm not sure mine are the best tips, but Here's a president talking about the interest that he's going to say the F word here, which is faith. And he's going to mention the G word, which is God.
Be apart. We can use this time to turn to reflection and prayer and our own personal relationship with God. I would ask that all Americans pray for the heroic doctors and nurses, for the truck drivers and grocery store workers, and for everyone fighting this battle.
Who would have thought, honestly, and think about this, normally the people that he's talking about, the truck drivers, the grocery store workers, the drive-through employees, those are the people that people look down their nose at. McDonald's drive-through worker. Come on, man. Who would have thought they'd be our heroes?
I had mentioned yesterday where I see the nurses rushing into hospitals, and they're putting on their outfits and they're putting on their masks and goggles in some cases. They're rushing into war. And I see people from apartment houses screaming and shouting and singing their praises. It's an incredible...
You know what we got to do? We got to shut down this man's press conferences. He keeps saying stuff like this. We got to shut him down.
Thing. They're warriors. These doctors and nurses, they're running into buildings and they're literally putting it on as the doors are opening. They're putting all their stuff in, running inside. And they're running inside to tremendous danger. Tremendous danger.
And we thank them for that. And we thank them for that. President, I want to mention one more soundbite from the president, one more audio clip, video clip from the president. He was asked by a reporter, I think this was yesterday, about why you didn't shut down the grocery stores. This is one of the dumber questions I've heard in a while, but there's so many coming from the press corps, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah, obviously we know anyone can spread the disease, all right, unwittingly.
Right.
So why even not have a few businesses open? Why not just shut everything down? There are grocery stores that are open, fast food places. Why even take a little chance?
Is it because your housekeeper or your nanny goes to the grocery store that you don't understand that people need to buy effing food at the grocery store?
So shut
Well,
it
we're
all
going to
down
have to, we'll answer that question later. All I can say is that right now things are looking really good, and opening up with a bang will be a great thing. And
I got to hear that again.
Obviously we know anyone can spread the disease, all right, unwittingly.
Right.
So why even not have a few businesses open? Why not just shut everything down? There are grocery stores that are open, fast food places. Why even take a little chance?
What an ungodly, stupid ass question. Honestly, what a stupid question. Do you even know what you said, you fool? I don't know who this doofus is, but why didn't you shut all the grocery stores down? Why didn't you shut down everything? Well, I don't know, because maybe we need to buy freaking groceries to not starve to death. Do you think that the UN is going to drop bags of rice in your neighborhood from a transport plane? Are you out of your effing mind? Dear God in heaven. This also begs the question, if you're going to leave Wal Mart open, if you're going to leave, Whole Foods open or whatever, then why not leave more open? Why not leave grocery store or restaurants open? Doesn't make any sense. Never has made any sense to shut down the whole damn country when 1.4 million people in a world of 7.5 billion people have gotten the virus. Yes, it's terrifying. It's very scary, particularly right now in the state of New York. But we're going to have to say, this has been real nice staying at home and everything, and maybe getting a government check. I went into work today. I can't handle it. I got to work, and my where I work, they're paying me a good portion of my salary because of revenue lost to keep me on board, and I'm blessed. And I'm like, dude, if I have a day off, I'm going to go in and help you out. I don't do well sitting at home. I don't. If I have vacation, hell yeah, I'll take vacation. But I'm not good about sitting and just kind of sit up a little bit. I'm not good at sitting. I want to help out. If the company is willing to help me out, I'm willing to help them out. Chipotle has come up with millions of dollars. They're going to give their employees bonuses. I think it's wonderful. Starbucks is doing the same thing. Thank you, Starbucks. It is great. Companies that do that, awesome. Some companies don't do that. And I'm thinking of some very large broadcast companies. Yeah. Anyway, I was talking earlier about... there's a difference between leadership and those who panic. I read earlier today, and in case you missed the very good news coming out of New York, hospitals in the state of New York discharged more COVID-19 patients than they have admitted for the fourth day in a row. This as of Saturday, 574 admitted, 1,704 discharged. This is good news. This hasn't helped the mayor of New York, Bill de Blasio, and Chris Cuomo, the governor of New York, from acting like New York is the only city in the world that exists.
Have doctors, nurses, firefighters, police officers, EMTs, paramedics, all doing their job in a heroic fashion. They are fighting to save every life.
Yes, we know.
I have absolute faith in them. What I don't have faith in is that they will have the equipment they need, certainly especially those ventilators, and they'll have the reinforcements they need. Because here's the problem. So many of our healthcare workers and our first responders, they've gotten sick themselves. Now, most of them come back after 7 days, 10 days. But we've got to recognize we're not even, we don't even have our full complement we would normally have of these crucial, these.
Okay, so Bill de Blasio, at least Chris Cuomo has acknowledged the president's doing a good job. has attempted to possibly spread a message of hope to some degree. Bill de Blasio has been a chicken with his head cut off from day one. And he has shown that he is a worthless leader. He has said that you cannot go to the gym, you cannot go out in public and work out. He chooses to work out at Battery Park, which is 12 miles from his residence. Okay? The man is a bad leader. He always has been, and he's shown his true colors right now. And the governor isn't doing a much better job. He's relying on the president to cover his ass. This is one of the scary things that I saw, and this was on, I believe, Twitter the other day. You've seen these dystopian future movies. I was reminded the other day of Demolition Man, which I thought was pretty interesting. Demolition Man has had a lot of things to say about the future with regard to freedom of speech, with regard to the Second Amendment, with regard to keeping those infected confined underground, which was fake, which was false. Demolition Man's a terrific movie. I mean, it's a goofy, funny movie with Sly Stallone and Dennis Leary, among others, and but it has a lot. It has a lot of amazing things. Blade Runner is another movie that we look at it, and without the flying cars, it's getting pretty close. Okay, this is I guess, a civilian drone patrol, not a droid patrol. Drone patrol near people having the audacity to go outside and exercise in New York City over the weekend.
The anti-COVID-19 volunteer drone task force. Please maintain a social distance of at least 6 feet. Again, please maintain.
This has to be fake, right? Somebody has to be doing this as some sort of a prank or some sort of an art project, like performance art. This can't be real, right?
Social distancing. Please help stop the spread of this virus. Reduce the death toll and save lives. For your own safety and your family's safety, please maintain social distancing.
This can't be real, right? We've seen this too many times in movies. This can't be real.
Thank you for your cooperation. We are all in this together.
That's on CBS News. So, you don't know if it's true or not. Hi, Chris. Speaking of CBS News last week aired footage from an Italian hospital ICU claiming that it was in New York City. This is before the SH hit the fan in New York City. And they claimed that it was an American hospital in New York City. It wasn't. It was in Italy, which was in the height of the infection and the hospitalizations. CBS News posted a fraudulent video of an ICU nurse crying over poor working conditions and ultimately quitting her job. Here is the video.
America is not prepared, and nurses are not being protected. I quit my job today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I went into work and I was assigned to a COVID patient.
What's the patient's name?
On an ICU unit that has been converted to a designated COVID unit. None of the nurses are wearing masks, not even surgical masks in the hallways when they're giving report to each other. I had my own N95 mask.
Here's the problem. She is a nurse, but she hasn't worked in over a year.
I told my manager, I understand we're short on supplies.
This is all a lie.
Myself.
This is all a lie.
I feel safe. I have family that I have to come home to, and the way things are looking.
That's some pretty good acting, though. I mean, seriously, that's pretty good stuff there.
Isn't going to get any better. America is not prepared, and nurses are not being protected.
Okay, that is a lie, and there's the CBS logo, and CBS ate it hook, line, and sinker. She apparently is apparently popular on Facebook. I'm not sure about Instagram, but she likes to do cosplay, things like that. She goes by the name Emerus, and she has bipolar depression, has not been an employee at the hospital that she said she was at for over a year. She said that the growing number of volume of information on coronavirus triggers her. Okay. The information overload can be hard for me to sift through as far as what is credible and what is not. It triggers me, according to a Facebook post. This is social media. The video has been stripped off Facebook and YouTube. I, of course, played it for you because I want to hold CBS News accountable for promoting her as somebody who's real. Nonsense. Nonsense. Oh, let's talk about Joe Biden. Joe Biden appeared on ABC, I think this is over the weekend, to talk about all the things that need to be done to attack the coronavirus. Here's the problem. Donald Trump has already done them.
You have to move swiftly, and we have to move more rapidly. You have to implement the Defense Production Act and power supply.
Hold on one second. Now, is it quickly? Hold on one second.
And we have to move more rapidly.
Okay, we have to move quickly, or we have to move more rapidly. Are those the same?
To move swiftly, and we have to move more rapidly.
I believe that we move quickly and we have to move more rapidly are the same. It'd be like us slowing down and acting more slowly would be the same thing as well.
You have to implement the Defense Production Act.
Already did that.
Power supply commander.
Already
create a Defense Production Act for banks that get out small business loans.
We already did that.
Testing, a whole range of things.
Yeah.
Got to go faster than slower, and we started off awfully slow.
Well, your brain is certainly very slow.
Indicated that I complimented him on dealing with China. Well, 45 nations had already moved to keep.
That's actually a lie.
Block China's.
That's an absolute lie.
Personnel from being able to come to the United States before the president moved.
No, that is not true. The president was one of the first in the world to restrict flying out of China. Okay, travel from China was restricted. One of the first countries in America or in the world was America doing that. So that's just a lie, Uncle Joe. Here he is getting the actual name of the virus wrong.
Well, look, what I have been saying is that he's moving too slow. The virus is not his fault. But the response is his responsibility.
Okay, the coronavirus moves. His reaction has moved to almost. It's moved as slow as his brain waves right now. Unbelievable. By the way, 14% of Democrats are enthusiastic about Joe Biden being the presidential candidate. Can you blame them? Here's a governor who's actually accepting responsibility, and he's a Democrat. Gavin Newsom actually taking responsibility for not having enough tests for coronavirus in his state.
And let me just acknowledge on the outset that the testing space has been a challenging one for us, and I own that. And I have a responsibility as your governor to do better and to do more testing in the state of California. And so we are now in
coronavirus has not affected his fabulous hair.
Position where I can confidently say it's a new day. And we are turning the page on our old approach to how we coordinate, how we collaborate, how we organize.
Okay, there you go. So, interesting thing. California has very few cases of the virus and very few deaths. I've heard people echo, including Rush Limbaugh, that maybe California's already been through it. Because in the time that the coronavirus first started in November/December in China, tens of thousands of Chinese came to California. Maybe this has already gone through the population or a giant portion of the population. I heard Rush talking today. Maybe as many as 50% of us maybe have already had it and it's done. Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? I had a friend at work, Sam, the other day. He's at work. He's coughing. He's wheezing. I said, get your ass out of here. Get your ass out of here. He goes home. He was home for a couple of days. I said, what the hell happened? He goes, Rob, I had a fever. In the middle of the night, I was covered with sweat. My fever broke, and I felt better a couple of days later. Was that it? I don't know. I do not know. None of us know. There's a reason why California has not been stricken. There's a reason why California right now is not a target. Other metropolitan areas, New Orleans, Detroit, they are. It's nobody has all the answers. Group of elementary teachers and administrators in Kansas City decided to conduct a parade on Saturday. to encourage students and their families to get them excited about distance learning during this time of coronavirus. Yeah. Police were having none of it. They stopped the parade, even though the parade participants were in their cars and not near other people. They were apparently violating a command from Democrat Governor Laura Kelly of the state of Kansas, who is completely overreacted. Local police educators from John Fisk Elementary, Kansas City, Kansas, decided to have a parade through the community, to show families how much we love and support them. Goal of the event was to get kids excited for the distance learning. I mentioned that. Here are some of the reminders from the parade goers. Please remember to observe social distancing, sanitation protocols. Do not run toward vehicles. Stay a safe distance from the street. We cannot stop the procession for liability purposes. Please not attempt to join in your bike or car. Thank you. They were stopped. Kansas City Police said the participants were in violation of state orders. KC Public Information Officer, who I know and I love, I think she's great, she said the governor's order's in order, and I understand that. Common sense. Common sense goes out the window in times like these. Common sense goes out the window. In Pennsylvania, 19-year-old woman decides, Anita Schaefer, she says, you want to go for a drive just to get out of her house. She was stopped by 2 Pennsylvania state police officers. During the stop, which the officers initiated over a faulty taillight and dark window tint, said she was just going for a drive. The officers responded by writing a ticket for her, fining her for $200 for violating the Pennsylvania stay-at-home order. Citation said she failed to abide by the order. And the Secretary of Health issued to control the spread of communicable disease, requiring the closure of all non-life-sustaining businesses as of la. So you can't leave your house, Pennsylvania. You know, we talk a good game in this country about freedom. We talk a good game about the Second Amendment, individual liberty, and many of us have just gone like sheep into hiding, said it's okay to not be able to buy a gun, said it's okay, we trust the government, they'll take care of us, we'll stay at home. Unbelievable. Kristi Noem is the Republican governor of South Dakota. I think she's pretty badass. She spoke to reporters, I guess this is a couple days ago, about her decision not to completely shutter the state. And I hope you will listen to her, because she's very well grounded in our Constitution with regard to her decisions, and that's the way it should be.
I wanted to touch on the role of government in a crisis situation. In this country and in our state, we have a government that is run by, for, and of the people. And the people have established national and state constitutions that place specific limits on the role of government in our lives.
What?
Those limits prevent us from taking draconian measures, much like the Chinese government has done and what we have seen. There also is some limits that keep us from...
Also, by the way, there are reports out of China that to make room in hospitals, they bagged up people who were still alive, even though they were in critical condition and they were elderly, and cremated them.
Taking some of the actions we've seen European governments
I posted that on Facebook. I didn't do the story tonight because
take that limit citizens' rights. Our Constitution ensures the citizen's right is protected. I agree with the role of the government as set forth in our state and in our national Constitution. I took an oath to uphold these constitutions. My role in respect to public safety is something that I take very seriously. The people themselves are primarily responsible.
What? What did she just say? What did she just say?
The people themselves are primarily responsible for their safety.
Wow. Personal responsibility. Holy hell. Where have we heard those 2 words in this entire crisis? Never until now.
They are the ones that are entrusted with expansive freedoms. They're free to exercise their rights to work, to worship, and to play, or to even stay home, or to conduct social distancing.
Whoa. You are free to go to work. You are free to go home. You are free to stay at home. You are free to worship. Holy hell. Who else has said that? Pretty much nobody. Pretty much nobody. I have some friends who couldn't believe. I mean, I have a friend who literally doesn't want to be my friend anymore because I did not agree with the federal government shutting down the entire country. Wow. Barry says, Sweden. Yeah, Sweden said basically it's your responsibility. I haven't seen Sweden's numbers. I didn't see them in the news headlines as everybody's dying. Did you see it? I didn't see it. Let's look at the map, everybody. Let's look at the coronavirus map. Let's look at Sweden. Sweden, Finland, Singapore, Slovenia, Azerbaijan, Tunisia. I am not seeing Sweden. No, sirree. Sweden basically said, hey, man, you want to go to work? Go for it. If you want to go to a church, go for it. Your personal responsibility. Sweden, of all places. Of all places. I don't see any numbers for Sweden, but Sweden isn't exactly like leading the world in deaths. So, whatever. Here's a cool story. This is a story, a World War II veteran, and we've heard from a couple of people, stories of older people who have survived, beaten this virus. A resilient 104-year-old man who lived through the Spanish flu, the Great Depression, World War II, recovering from the coronavirus. William Bill Lapshees contracted the virus at the Edward Allworth Veterans Home in Oregon. And he first started showing symptoms on March the 5th, isolated in his room, but as of this week, apparently, is doing just fine. There he is right there. Guy was in his 30s in World War II. What a kick-ass man.
They don't know how it feels to be 104.
I know. Pretty good.
Pretty good. I made it, baby. Wow. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. His daughter, Carol Lee Brown, says we celebrated his 101st and had over 200 people. We're thrilled he's recovered from this, and we just had to do something for him. Her father was very sick, and the doctors thought he might not make it. But he did it. He kicked some butt. Barry says that in Sweden there are less per capita infections, slightly more per capita deaths, and that may be because of age. Massachusetts woman reportedly sprayed Lysol in the Wal Mart cashier's eyes after the cashier told the shopper that there was a limit to the quantity that she could purchase. Happened in Leicester, Massachusetts, March 27th. I have another weird story from Massachusetts coming up. The guy decided he would hack and cough all over produce, and people took his ass down. Leicester Police Department revealed that they're still looking for a female suspect. She walked in, was informed by the cashier there was a limit on the number of Lysol disinfectant she could purchase, and she sprayed the cashier in the eyes. They're still looking for the suspect. Yeah, I'm not going to run that video. There's a nurse, Molly Lixie, Saginaw, Michigan, posted a video on her Facebook page. I'll play a little bit of it. Here she is basically showing that, if you don't wash your hands properly, you're going to get sick. And just, you watch and you'll see it kind of makes sense. But to many of us, it's kind of, duh, I get it.
I still have my gloves on. So
there
here now I'm in Meijer and I'm getting my groceries and I reach for something and, let's just say I reach for toilet paper, right? Well, if you can find any, get some toilet paper. Well, I take my toilet paper and I put it in my cart and now you can see I have all these germs.
Was that used toilet paper?
On my hands from my toilet paper. But it's in my cart, but it's on my gloves. That's fine, right? It's on my gloves. Well, but now I'm walking along and my phone rings. So I've now touched my hands together a couple times, and I reach for my phone, and
there you go.
You're
dialing the phone. You're getting your poop all over it there.
More chicken.
Pain, I guess, right?
Dinner.
Infection.
So let me text him back. Okay, honey, I got it. I'll get us some chicken. Okay, so I put my phone back in my cart and I continue.
You forgot putting the phone against your face.
Continue getting groceries, and I just keep touching everything. Oh, my nose itches here. Let me itch.
I got some poop on my nose now.
Okay. Now my phone's ringing.
Oh, here I go.
She needs me to get her something. Hi.
Smack
Hello?
right on the
Hi,
face
Mom.
there.
What can I do for you? Oh,
And you
hi,
got poop on your face now. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh, but now here, it's okay. It's totally
Okay, we get it. Yeah, I know. I'm doing a lot of disinfecting. I go in and work and I do the disinfecting on my computer and all that stuff. And I wash my hands constantly and all that. And I don't want to get this. Trust me, I don't want to get this. I had H1N1 in 2010. It was not nice. It was kind of funny. A Venezuelan naval vessel and a German cruise shipper collided last Monday. Seamen aboard the Venezuelan patrol boat, the Nagueta, whatever the hell, they decided to go after a cruise ship. This is kind of Germany-esque, right? Well, here's the problem. The cruise ship was outfitted as kind of they normally do Alaskan cruises and cruises in the northern hemisphere where there's ice. So it had been reinforced, and consequently, these dumbasses from the Venezuelan Navy, which I think this is their only ship, they ran into the cruise ship thinking they'd kick the cruise ship's butt because it's a civilian passenger liner with no weapons whatsoever. And, well, the ship sank. The Venezuelan ship sank. So they're going after the cruise liner with the military boat. They hit the boat, and consequently, they sunk. And the cruise ship ended up having to rescue 44 of these idiots from the ship. Here is the Venezuelan warship, which looks very menacing. There you are. And here is the cruise ship. Thank you, Venezuelan military. Very formidable force in the world. This crisis has not prevented people from selling snake oil. Jim Baker, former televangelist who still has a TV show, attempted to sell some sort of hokum, silver oxides. I don't know what the hell is. Alex Jones tried the same thing, selling cure for the coronavirus, which was absolutely load of crap. And if that doesn't convince you that Alex Jones has no credibility, you're an idiot. Here is televangelist Kenneth Copeland. Watch the insanity in this man's face. Now, he has nobody in his pews. By the way, he is worth, I believe, somewhere in the neighborhood of $750 million. Here he is appearing in this video to say he's $70 and $60 million what this man's worth. He is in his church with sycophants repeating everything that he says, talking about how he's going to blow the virus. Yeah.
To the state of Maine. To the state of Maine. From Southern California. To Brownsville, Texas.
Texas.
And the tip of Florida. And wherever else in the world it's needed.
God, this guy.
Wherever else in the world it's needed. When? Almighty.
Who's the guy on the right there? Is he supposed to be closed captioning or what the hell?
Almighty. Strong. South wind.
You're partial slipping.
Heat. Burn this thing. In the name of Jesus.
Jesus.
Satan, you bow your knee. You fall on your face.
Wow, this man is mentally ill.
COVID-19.
They even repeated the blow thing.
I blow the wind of God
I blow the wind of God. Okay, he's blowing the wind of God.
On you. You are destroyed forever. And you'll never be back.
I could make a comment about his job is to blow the virus. That people follow this man is sad. That people follow this man is somehow credible is sad. It happens all over the country. Unbelievable. Oh, here's this guy. This is pretty funny. Here's a guy. He's a 65-year-old guy. He's a dumbass. He goes into a grocery store, the Stop and Shop in Boston, or Kingston, Massachusetts, actually. Decides he's going to go ahead and cough and spit on food. Well, there were some people in the store who would have none of that. Can't we just punch him a few times while we got him down here? We can't. Oh, got to wait for cops. Just a punch in the head or something. It won't leave a mark. Just can I knee him in the ball? Something, anything. Anyway, out of extreme caution, the individual is transferred to the Bid Plymouth Hospital to be evaluated. They are pursuing an application for a criminal complaint, which may involve the following criminal charges: assault and battery, dangerous weapon, assault and battery, destruction of property. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, dickweed. He's a douche. He's a douche. Now, here are a couple things that are not related. One is kind of related to COVID. It's a girl who's a teenager, and she's trying to do a news report on the virus. We're going to get that up, and how dads always do this. This is a perfect example of a dad being a doofus and interrupting this very serious moment of his daughter. I'm going to share that in just 1 second. But Annie Wilkins took to Twitter to post a video of her daughter, Piper, on the verge of heaving after taking a bite of dinner. Now, Piper wanted to be cool. And Piper's trying to act like, this is really, no, everything's good. This is really delicious. This is what people do when they watch my show. It's like, are you enjoying the show? No, it's great. It's great. It's great. Or Joe Scarborough's show. And Mika, no, I really love the show. Here is Piper trying to be cool, even though she is really not liking what Mom made for dinner.
How is it? Good. It looks like you're enjoying yourself. Oh, yeah, that looks like you're enjoying.
Oh, what did Mika just say? Oh, God, she really, seriously, here it is.
How is it? Good. It looks like you're enjoying yourself.
Jim Acosta.
Oh, yeah, that looks like you're enjoying. Okay.
Poor kid.
You okay?
Uncle. Okay. Last story. This is I've seen this. I don't even know who this person is, but anyway, this kid's trying to do a serious news report as a high school student, and dad interrupts her very serious moment. This is the kind of thing that is repeated literally. Then I'm going to share my visit to Wal Mart today. I mean, countless times with teenagers and fathers or sons, actually, in the country. I've done it every day in America.
Technology kills viruses in just one. What did you do, Mom? Dad, holy crap.
Dad, holy crap. That's the same reaction. This is the same reaction. It echoed thousands of times.
Technology kills viruses in just one. What did you do, Mom? Dad, holy crap.
That is classic. I've done that. Oh, it's so great. Oh, God. And Dad's just like, why? I didn't know. I was just coming out. I was going to get a cookie or something. I don't know what the hell. Oh, Dad. Oh, man. Finally, this is my trip to Wal Mart today, and this was a glorious day. Because today at Wal Mart, there was toilet paper. In the first time in 3 weeks, there was a lot of toilet paper. And the funny thing is, I went to work today, and people say, Rob, which Walmart? Which Walmart? Which Walmart? And there was no limit on it. There was no limit on the number of toilet paper that I could buy. There was no sign that said just buy one. It was like, What the hell? Here is the video that I posted on Facebook today at Wal Mart where there was toilet paper aplenty. Praise God. The crisis may be finally ending. Go ahead. Welcome to the most glorious toilet paper aisle in the history of mankind. There were people who didn't want to be videotaped even though they were wearing masks. I had literally told two people, I'm like, they won't recognize you. You're wearing a mask. God in heaven, look at this. It's like walking into Fort Knox, isn't it? Look at this. It's a bar. People are like, who the hell are you? Bars of gold here. Go ahead. That's fine. I won't videotape you. I have no idea who this guy is in Walmart. Look at that. Oh my God. Look at Angel Soften. And here's the cheap stuff. You don't even need to buy the cheap stuff. You can get the good stuff. The good stuff was there. Hold on. Look. Hold on. There's Cottonelle, which a week ago was worth its weight in platinum. Yeah. All right, they're barring me all the way. Toilet paper will be Confederate currency in a week. Go ahead, yeah. Absolutely worthless. Venezuelan currency. There's some more Cottonelle. Look at that Cottonelle. Northern, my God in heaven. Would have had that a week ago. Holy hell, I could have retired. It's like an armored car tipped over here. It spilled its contents all over the place. Wow. Yeah. This is amazing. Hi, guys. How are you doing? Hello, Dave, and hello, Dwight. And look what is above the toilet paper. This morning, watch this. I was reading. Hold on. What's above the toilet paper? Hold on. Hold on. Tonight, hold on. We're just going to get back. Customers here at Walmart this morning are wearing. There you go. Look at that. Face masks. There's the Easter stuff up there. And I will not. But there's the Easter stuff right above there. And it's like, a week ago, that's what the kids would have wanted for Easter. Toilet paper. It's like chocolate Easter bunny. Hell, man, I don't care about that. Give me a 4-pack of Cottonelle. Woo! Okay, it's time for me to go. I want to thank you for joining me tonight. I hope that you will share this with other people. Thank you for watching, those who are watching, and this will be on my YouTube channel, which is at Rob Carson Show. Okay? Hope you enjoyed it. I think it's a perspective that you're not going to get anywhere else, and I think that things are looking up. This is the week that the Surgeon General said it would be our Pearl Harbor, our 9/11 again. Let's hope that prediction is false as well. All right, guys, have a glorious evening, glorious day. Spend time with your family. Try not to go insane. God bless you, and I'll see you again soon.